Speaking today with Dale Anderson, and Mr. Anderson, you are running for the District 1 school board seat. And can you tell us today a little bit about what prompted you to run this year?
Well, I think the lack of communication that we see within the framework of our present day, or our present school district administration and our school board. The examples would be things such as the consent decree. We could talk about the impasse. We could talk about school closings. We could talk about the pay raise for administration. We could talk about discipline, which was the key issue that did push me into this. We could go into, and looking at the discipline aspect is, of course, the situation at Pace, where the young men were charged with a felony and still allowed to play ball. We could talk about it in another one that most people don't even know about. At Avalon Middle School, there were actually some young men that were removed from the bus because of discipline issues. Their parents didn't bring them to school, so the district actually provided a bus just for those 4 students to pick them up in the morning, bring them to school, and every afternoon would pick them up and take them back home. And I don't know what kind of message we're sending by those type of those types of dealings with parents and so forth. I was actually told that if I continued to enforce the dress code rule at my school, that if the parent went to the school board would not be backing me on that issue. And yet that's part of that student code of conduct that that every student has to take a test on every beginning of every year, and every student knows those rules. So I think we're beginning to weaken the fabric that holds Santa Rosa County schools together, and so that's one of the key things that pushed me into it.
You feel like the school board should have stuck to their guns and said, "This
Absolutely.
is the rule."
If you don't, the issue becomes what's going to happen next. Okay, we're going to back off here. So what happens with my child? If my child gets in trouble, and he's not a big sports person, how are you going to deal with that? Do you say, oh, okay, well, we'll allow you to, and we go through this process of opening the door of continuously having to do battle over something that's in the code of student conduct that has to be enforced, and teachers begin to lose that little edge of saying, hey, this is a rule, and we lose that self-discipline that we try to instill within our students. I think we move too much to self-esteem. We've got to get back to, let's get these guys and make our young people understand it's more important to know right and wrong than it is to worry about whether they're feeling good about themselves.
You feel like, and with the discipline issue, and as well with the consent decree issue, do you feel like the school board has exercised adequate, I don't want to say authority, but been adequately involved in how the individual school leaders are
I think a lot of that again goes back to the communication aspect of it. I think that what has occurred is, okay, we've got to do this. Well, federal law is going to require you to do certain things. I think we went too far with the decree itself. Teachers, okay, we can learn to work within the framework of the laws of this state, of our national government. But turning around then and denying our students their free speech, their Amendment 1 rights, those cornerstones of all of our rights, I think was wrong. When you step in and say to young ladies that are leaders within the school, oh, we're not going to let you speak because you may say God in your speech, that was wrong. And those are things that went way too far to the left. And we needed to pull that out and start working within the framework of what's best for those kids. What was the most fair thing? What was the most equitable way of doing that?
Gotcha. What do you see as the major challenges in the coming years that the school board's going to face?
We always have to talk about budget, of course. We're 67th out of 67 counties. The impasse situation where teachers were went before a magistrate, and they actually lost in terms of getting an in-step raises. Of course, they were already getting those, and the school board was gracious enough to actually say, well, we're not going to go back and make you pay that back. You know, late in the evening, though, we turned around and we hear this, that there's no money available for pay raises. Yet late in the evening, after many people had gone home, the school board voted for a 1.8% raise for administration. And it worries me that, again, communication was not there to be discussed. What were some other options that they could have done? One of the things that they could have been honest about and said, hey, we actually have a surplus within this funding frame. Let's put this pot out here and let's recognize the hard work that our schools do. Let's give our non-instructional personnel some money. Okay? Not maybe a pay raise, but a bonus. Let's give our teachers a bonus. Let's give our school administrators a bonus and recognize the hard work that they're doing. Let's look at the tier system, the bus system. Aren't there some things that we could do there? Of course, and that was a tough decision. But couldn't we open up our high schools and say, hey, those of you that can drive to school in the morning, let's allow those students to come in at 7 o'clock. Let's get those that have parents that have students that are playing sports that are missing their 7th period, their last block. Let's allow them to then have the morning schedule. They're off in the afternoon. They can go and compete in their sports and so forth. So there's some issues out there. There's some things that we can do that are not always well thought out, that we need to see some new techniques and new ideas. Communication is the key to that.
Gotcha. You talked about the budget, and let's go back to that a little bit. What are if you were to take your seat today, what would be the major issues you think you'd have to address in the budget immediately? What's the most pressing?
Right now, I think, again, we go back and we have to look at where the money is being spent. Where are we fat? And there are a lot of things. And of course, I've only seen this. Today would be a week that I've had the budget in front of me for this next year. And there are things that came out in the discussion of in school or in county travel, out of county travel. That was definitely, there's a lot of money there, over $1 million for those areas. Let's look closely at what's best for our kids, not what's best for the political machine. Let's look at where we're going to put dollars that's going to improve or continue to have quality education for Santa Rosa County.
Gotcha. Okay. Mr. Dale Anderson, we sure thank you for talking to us today.